Hi, I'm Andy with EcoCha, and here we are with batch number 37 of the EcoCha Tea Club. And 37 means we're starting off year 4 of having our tea club and sharing monthly batches of tea that we find special or even unique in some way. And this month's batch of tea is a Hong Oolong or Red Oolong Tea. In Chinese, black tea is called red tea, so Hong Cha or red tea is what we have translated as black. And Hong Oolong is given this name because it is an oolong that is close to being a black tea, particularly in its flavor profile. I'm going to put about 7 grams of tea in a 150 milliliter pot, because when using black tea you would use less proportionately than a typical oolong, and this oolong being closer to black tea we can use a little bit less. So 7 grams of tea, 150 milliliters of water, boiling temperature water, and then pretty much standard gong fu brewing style, starting at about 1 minute per brew. Hong Oolong is a name that has become popular in recent years in Taiwan. The Tea Research and Extension Station, a branch of the Department of Agriculture here in Taiwan, has, they developed a processing method that would allow the tea growing region on the southeastern coast of Taiwan, mainly in Taidong County, would be able to process their tea in a way that would differentiate their product from the rest of Taiwan and give it just a special character and a differentiating value. The Hong Oolong that's made, in my personal perception, and I've gotten agreement from local tea makers as well, particularly here in central Taiwan, the character of Hong Oolong and the actual processing method is very similar to black tea making, with the added initial stages of oolong tea making, namely solar withering and shuffling of the leaves. The Hong Oolong or red oolong that's commonly found on the market tastes a lot like black tea. It's a light, a delicate black tea with a little more complexity than your darker, hardier, stronger character of black tea. But the leaves when you examine the brewed leaves, they look fully oxidized, and it has that kind of rich black tea character. This batch of tea, on the other hand, and the reason that I found it worthy of sharing, is not fully oxidized. So by definition, it fits the term red oolong. It's a heavily oxidized oolong, but there is still a lot of green on the surface of the leaf when you examine the brewed leaves, and the character of the tea, the flavor profile, also has a delicate, more complex character, and definitely the hui gan and the hou yun, or the lingering aftertaste of an oolong, is present more so in this batch. And I learned in the process of finding and deciding to source this batch for this month's tea club, when I mentioned it to my friend who is a professional Dongding Oolong tea maker, he immediately responded by saying that Hong Oolong is actually a new name for the pre-modern local oolong tea processing methods. In other words, there's a particular step that used to be done before the processing was mechanized, when it was all done by hand. And that step is kneading the leaves, lightly bruising them, before the saching or the kill green stage, the tumble heating step, where the leaves are exposed to high temperature and the oxidation process stops due to the killing of the live enzymes naturally occurring within the leaf. That's called kill green, and it's the the pivotal step in the making of an oolong. You decide what level of oxidation you want to bring the leaves to, and then you stop that oxidation with the tumble heating or the kill-green process. So before the kill-green process, in the making of this tea, the leaves were put into what's called the 半月形揉捻机, or the half-moon shaped rolling machine. It's the primary rolling machine, what is used typically after the kill-green or tumble heating step in order to redistribute the moisture in the leaf and kind of squeeze the juices throughout the leaf after the oxidation process has been stopped. In the making of this tea, they rolled the leaves before the kill-green process in order to, as I understand it, to bruise the leaves, break the cell walls, and allow the constituents within the leaves to merge and to mix together, you might say, in a very elementary way. It's not very scientific. So that's the one specific thing about this tea that, in addition to just tasting it and being impressed by the complexity of it and the fragrance of it, the flavor is reminiscent of a black tea, but the aroma is definitely reminiscent of an oolong. Yeah, very fruity, tangy character. Kind of citrus, but also more like a stone fruit, peach, apricot. Definitely tangy. Yeah, like just ripe peach or apricot that's not overly ripe, so it's not too heavily sweet. The color is a dark orange, really nice luminosity, kind of a viscosity to the visual. It's got a light character, sort of in contrast to the visual kind of thickness of the tea. It's delicate. It's subtle. It's not that real hearty black tea at all. A very nice balance of what we perceive as oolong and what we know as black tea, and even what's become quite common now is small leaf black tea. That dry finish of a traditionally made oolong. You know, tea is by nature bitter and astringent, and it's the art of working with the leaves in order to bring out a sweetness through the process of oxidation and bring a complexity of flavor out of the tea. So yeah, go a little bit lighter than you would with an oolong in terms of the amount of tea leaves. You can go with a more delicate brew in order to get the complexity and not overpower the complexity of flavor. There is a type of floral finish at the end. The aftertaste is more than fruity, or that kind of like perfume that comes from a ripe fruit. We'll go one more for a third brew. The tea keeps brewing. It has pretty good endurance, at least 4 or 5 brews in a Gong Fu style brewing method. So there you have it, Hong Oolong or Red Oolong Tea for our December 2018 batch of tea. Please let us know what you think about this batch by sharing your comments and photos of your brew, your tea tasting. Share a video like we're doing here. We all want to know what each other are experiencing in this exploration that we have going on with the starting of the 4th year of the Eco Cha Tea Club. Thanks for being with us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and we'll see you next month.